This is my brother's new cheap car. It's Citroen Saxo VTR. How much did you buy it for, Andy?
It was £480.
480 quid, and look at it in all its glory. It's bone stock. It's got 14-inch wheels. I'm not sure if that's standard or not. It looks a bit 90s, but it's a cheap car. But one thing that it was doing that was a bit scary is it didn't really brake in a straight line, and I came to the conclusion that its caliper was a bit sticking, so we've got some new brakes for it. The plan is we're going to upgrade from these brakes, which are tiny, I think it might be 240mm to 280mm from the 206 GTI 180, and we're going to also have the calipers from that. Yellow stuff pads, a master cylinder which is from a 406, so that's the 28, I think 23.8mm. I'll confirm that. I think it's 23.8mm master cylinder, and yeah, we're gonna put that on. Some of the tools we're going to need is obviously the basics, so ratchets, jacks, axle stands. More specifically for the brake lines, we need these, which are flare nut wrench set or brake line spanner set, and that's so that you can see you can hook the brake line through it and then get a proper purchase. And they're quite thick compared to normal spanners. If you use normal spanners, you can almost get away with it, but what happens is you end up marking up all of the lines, and you might have an absolute nightmare. So let's not do that. Let's do it properly. First things first, we're going to fit the master cylinder, the larger master cylinder, because you need the larger master cylinder for the larger brakes. Otherwise you have a really long pedal travel, and the brakes, well, you just won't get some of the advantages from the brakes. So that's the first thing. I'm going to pop the bonnet and then take out the master cylinder. Step one, pop the bonnet, and then here we have the 19mm master cylinder, which we're going to need to take off. So what you notice, this is a non-ABS car, because we have 1, 2, 3, which you can just see there, and 4 brake lines going to it. An ABS car just has 2 on one side, so that's how you can tell the difference, because these came with ABS and non-ABS. This is non-ABS car. So what we need to do is we need to undo these hard lines. So the best thing to do is slacken them off, and then actually come in and undo the bolts, the 13mm bolts that hold it onto the servo. So I've got my brake line spanner, so you see it's very thick, 11mm end on it, and then what I want to do is just place it over and then just put some tension on it and just shock them off, okay? And then this one, that, there we go, that's moving. And then here's this one, so we turn it round, place it in there, like that. There we go, that's moving. And then this one, come in here. So they're all moving now. So I can actually just make sure that they're all loose, which they are. Okay. Yeah. Okay, and then I can come in and I can undo them fully and then get the 13mm on them. So that's what I'm going to do. But what I'm also going to do is grab some shop towel, as they call it, and just put it underneath here, because this is going to start pissing brake fluid everywhere, and that will damage your paint. Not in a car like this you're really going to care, but it's kind of good practice to get used to take consideration and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to do. Undo all these lines completely, and then like this. There's one. So that's out. You can pull it out of the way there. And we've got another one here. So just making sure it's loose by hand. Should all come out quite nicely. The next one, that's out, and then these two back. Unwind this one. You see that? A little bit difficult because there's not a lot of space. Just get in here with a spanner. Okay, so then just unwind this one. And then unwind the other one. Transferred to the plastic gloves because actually, you know, there's brake fluid, you don't want to get it on your hands and it's soaking into the other gloves. 13mm on a deep single hex. Just coming in here just to undo this. So it's taking it off this servo, which is this large black thing in the back. Get one of them going. The other one going. Okay, let's take that off. There's one nut. Two. One thing, this should have a proper connect on it, but, you know, it's a cowboy job, so someone just forced these in, but you'd remove the connector off here, but if there ain't no connector, you just remove the wires that someone's forced into it. And then, so all of these are out. These lines are all out, okay, and then the reservoir's still on it. You should just be able to, it's the pressure releasing off the servo, should be able to just take it out. It's going to be dripping somewhat, but 19mm master cylinders actually looks pretty new. Someone might have replaced it recently. So what I can do is I can just get rid of the contents of this reservoir first. So I have a tray down here, and just pour that away. Because what I need to do is I need to reuse this reservoir. So I need to take the old reservoir off and put it on the new master cylinder. So some cars, they have clips on them. This is just like a push fit idea. So that's pretty much the majority of that out of there. Put the lid back on. Okay. And what we can do is we can just probably walk it out. Just to get it started. Okay, we're out. So that's the master cylinder. This is the reservoir. And then we get the new master cylinder. This is Agid number. And we'll just get some more shop rang. So have you seen the part number there? Here's the other end. So that's the, it's one from a 406. Basically, I think it's almost any 406, but you need the one which is non-ABS if that's what you've got. So here's the item. It all looks pretty much the same. In terms of its size, in terms of its fitment. So that's good news because it needs to go on in exactly the same way. So first thing I'll do is I'll just trial fit it in the hole because if it doesn't fit, we're stuffed. So take that protective cover off. That looks the same anyway. it's going to work. And then what we need to do is we need to do what's called bench bleeding. You can just chuck it in, but the problem with that is you end up with loads of air in the lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bench bleed it. I need to take these out of here. So I might need a little flathead screwdriver. Take these out of here and put the reservoir on. So this is the reservoir, this is the new master cylinder. Obviously the sensor side is that side. And then all you need to do is push that in there. Like so. So you just push it in, and then you see that that's all flush onto there. Just wipe that down. And then we can begin the bench bleeding process. So what we need to do is we need to take each of these out, probably get some pliers on them, take each of these bungs out, put some brake fluid in the top of this, and then I'll show you the bleeding process. So we need to get these little things out, these little bungs out. I found the best way of doing it is just with a little prong. You can just kind of tease this thing out. Sure, it shouldn't be that difficult, but it is, but there you go. So that seems to work. So we've taken all 4 of them out. Then I'm going to come to the bench, obviously with the soft jaws in. I don't know how well you can see this, but just clip it up there. Just to hold it. Make sure it's straight as it would be in the car. So, then we need to get some brake fluid. We have here, cap off. Okay. Then we need the shock towel. We need more than that. This is going to be going everywhere. Probably having something underneath there might be good. Either way, what you want to do really is make sure you know that this is going to be messy. Some kits come with the pipes that screw in there. You still filming?
Yep.
Yeah, you're multitasking a little bit too much now. Anyway, so that's not. So some kits come with the pipes screw into there and then go back onto here, but this one doesn't. So what you really need to do is you need to hold, just with rubber gloves, your fingers slightly over it. Okay, and then you see here's the plunger. See at the back, there's a plunger. Okay, so my fingers are on all 4 ports. See that? Look at the top of the reservoir. That will suck up a load of fluid. Then next time I pump, so I'll probably do a few pumps like this. So now it's pumping out. So put a bit more. What you want to do is make sure you don't run this thing dry. So fill her right up. Okay. Then you see it is, you know, this isn't a clean job. It's just one of those things. I wouldn't do this on your dining room. You see, as I've got this kind of wrapped around like some kind of bandage, it's not going everywhere like it could be. I mean, it is going everywhere, but it's going on to this. That looks good, I'm kind of happy with that. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to fill it up anymore for now. Put the cap on it. Then take this out the vise and place it on the car. Back of the car, I'm just going to place it in here. In there like that. Just make sure you can move everything. Back on the 13mm nuts. Make sure it goes in nice by hand. Just screwing these 13mm nuts on. Careful not to drop them. Okay. Then back to your 13mm deep socket. And don't go the whole way in yet. What we're doing is we're just getting it started. So they're both started. Okay. So then what we can do is we need to start, because this has still got some movement on it, and it's really important to have a little bit of movement on it so you've got the ability to put these lines in. So what I'm going to do, work from the back, because the back's hardest to get in. So you see I'm looping it in, loop it in, get the hard line in, and don't put any force on these lines, right? Just put it in nice and easy. If it feels stiff in any way, you might be cross-threading it. You don't want to do that. So now this other back one, you're always trying to do the one that's hardest first. This back one in there, these back ones both started, then these two, you just need to just make sure they go in nice and easy. Right, that's easy. And then this one. Nice and easy. So, as much as possible, just get them all threaded in by hand. Because getting them by hand is going to be quicker, just to rotate these threads around. Sometimes moving the hard line around a bit can make it slightly easier. Right, okay. Then we're going to go back to our wrench. So 11mm, and then here we go. We can just still got a bit more of that to go in. So they're tight, so this one's tight, that one's tight. Don't go crazy on these, you don't want to snap it off in there. Okay, and then again, we just need to go in the back here. Will probably take a little bit of time. Much nicer having the proper tool to do it. It shouldn't be tough to get in. If it feels remotely tough to get in, just be careful you're not cross-threading everything. Because that is not going to speed things up much at all. Okay. Once they're done up, we can go back in with a 13mm and do it up tight. So we should be able to just get in here somehow, and here, and then just do do both bolts up evenly and tightly. Get that one in, and this one. Ooh. So I might have to get a slightly different tool and it's become a bit tight due to the orientation of these pipes, but yeah, just do up those two 13 mils. So I've done up those two 13mm bolts. Then usually you'd have a connector in here. Someone's bust that off at some stage. I'm just pushing this one onto that peg and this one in here. It's a complete bodge job, but all it is it tells you when you're running low on brake fluid, so it will work. Right, so that's done. Now we need to jack the car up and take the old brakes off.